Pompey Sound, your hourly update from Fratton Park, sponsored by Piglet's Pantry, the home of award-winning and handmade food on the South Coast.
Pompey's pre-season has another friendly match now locked in. They've added League Two side Crawley to their summer schedule, joining already confirmed fixtures against Woking, Farnborough and Havant. The match is set for Saturday, July 19th at the Broadfield Stadium with a 3 p.m. kickoff. It'll be a familiar pre-season opponent for Pompey, who last faced the Reds in a behind-closed-doors game at Hillsea in 2023. That day saw a memorable 9-1 win for the Blues, highlighted by new signing Yengi announcing himself with a rapid-fire hat-trick in just 22 minutes. Crawley are fresh off a tough season that saw them drop back to League Two, despite bringing back promotion-winning boss Scott Lindsay in March. Even with Pompey loanee Toby Stewart impressing between the sticks, including a clean sheet against champions Birmingham, they fell just 1 point short of survival. The match will also see a reunion with former Pompey Academy graduate Josh Flint, who joined Crawley last summer after spending 3.5 years in the Netherlands with FC Volendam.
OK, on paper it looks as though it's a slightly sterner pre-season set of test friendlies for Pompey. No offence to clubs who are having their artificial surfaces laid and therefore can't play the traditional now pre-season games against us. But certainly Crawley are going to be a pretty stern test, one would have thought. And that's a good thing, especially because we're not, is it the second year running now, not playing a pre-season game as part of our summer trip. So they'll be getting plenty of exercise. What we look forward to now, with regard to pre-season friendlies, is the big one that the last 2 years, and I don't know if this goes back centuries, but we've given ourselves a stern test a week before the opening day of the season. I think Bristol City were one such set of opponents, but my memory is taxed. But because it's spread so thin, with so much going on, did we play Bristol City before the beginning of last season or the season before? I'm going to look that up and top up the information on that. But we will be looking to have a sternish test in the 7 days before we actually take the pitch in anger in our second season in the Championship. But I don't know if you agree with me. Looks to me like a slightly sterner test in our friendlies than we've had in past seasons. And notwithstanding the possibility that we don't want to have injuries, the possibility of injuries that we don't want, that has to be a good thing. Yeah, I've looked up that Bristol City friendly, and it was the last game we played before our first game of the season, 23-24 season. It was the 29th of July 2023, and we lost 1-0 to Bristol City at Fratton Park, and then went on, and our first game of the season, curiously, was against Bristol Rovers. But we like thinking about that season because we did quite well then, didn't we? Did quite well in that season.
Yengi is on the lookout for a new club after being released by Portsmouth, and the Giant striker says he wouldn't be surprised if the injuries he picked up while representing the Socceroos over the last 9 months played a role in his exit from the Championship side. Yengi featured just 14 times for the second-tier strugglers this season, who finished 16th, a reality he describes as devastating when chatting with Fox Sports Australia from the team's training camp in Abu Dhabi. The search for a new club is ongoing, but not a distraction for the 26-year-old, as he tries to push his case for selection for 2 crucial World Cup qualifiers against Japan in Perth and Saudi Arabia in Jeddah over the next fortnight. "Team always comes first," said Yengi. "When you have a goal to go to the World Cup, it's quite easy to kind of block out external noise. My club side is easy to push away, and to keep my focus on what I'm doing here with Australia." Portsmouth fans grew increasingly frustrated with Yengi's trips around the globe with the Socceroos, not with the location or the timing, but the fact that after each call-up an injury followed. He was sidelined with a groin injury soon after arriving back from international duty in September. A knee injury against Bahrain in November saw the forward out for almost 4 months, and a hamstring niggle occurred on a trip to Australia in March. Asked whether that record sealed his fate at Portsmouth, Yengi says he wouldn't be surprised. They were banking on me coming back and being fit and ready to kick on and help us with our survival in the championship this year, and every time I went away to national team camp, I came back injured. I can only imagine how frustrating that was for the fans and for the club and for myself. It was devastating. It's not like I wanted to go away and come back injured. The knee injury against Bahrain in November was the strangest of the lot. Yengi dug his knee into the turf just before half-time while chasing a through ball, but played out the match and scored a 96th minute equaliser. "I flew straight back to Portsmouth and my knee had a bit of swelling in it," he said. "The message from the club was that you'll just miss out this game and you'll be back to play the next one. We'll just let the swelling settle down." A scan revealed more damage than first expected. "I had a big injury in my knee and was out for quite some time, so it was a bit of a tough pill to swallow."
It's a refreshingly open and apparently honest set of thoughts that Yengi has made public there. One can, I think, assume from it that he perhaps understands that quite a few Pompey fans and maybe some people behind the scenes at Pompey thought it was injudicious of him to accept that second invitation to go and join the Socceroos, because he'd only just come back to full fitness. He'd only just managed to get a little bit of playing time for Pompey, and off he goes again. And again, he cops an injury. So that's not clever. One wonders what kind of conversation the Pompey management had with him about going to Australia the second time. Are they going to pick you? Are you going to play? Or are you just going to sit on a plane for however many hour after hour after hours and then maybe risk a training session in which it will be no 50-50s, but on the other hand, play it for real so that we can see what you've got at this particular moment in time. Don't know how he made how the second injury was caused. We do know that one thing that's not good for an injury, particularly one that has swelling of the joints, one thing that's not good for it is altitude flying. And it's not being at altitude that causes the problem, it's the ascent, the takeoff, and climbing up to cruising height, and the descent, coming down again. That is what changes the air pressure inside the cabin and can affect the swelling that accompanies injuries, many injuries, perhaps most, but all, to the joints. So it wasn't the cleverest thing he's ever done. And now he's looking for another club. He'd like to stay in Europe. I suspect he'd like to stay in England, possibly in the United Kingdom, second best, or the sort of our side of the continent, France or Spain or somewhere like that. He'd quite like to be, I would imagine. Anyway, we continue to wish him well because he was one of ours and we cherished him and got excited about the possibility of this lad. What is it now? Nearly 2 years ago, is it? Certainly 18 months ago. And we just never saw the best of him, I don't think. We never saw the best of him. So good luck to him. As long as it's not up against us, may he play well.
Pompey have revealed their pre-season plans, which include a training camp in Bratislava, Slovakia, and 2 new friendly matches added to their summer schedule. After last year's successful camp in Medellin, Croatia, John Messinho will take his squad to the Slovakian capital as they gear up for life in the championship. While there won't be any matches played abroad, the club will continue their popular tradition of hosting an open training session for travelling supporters on Thursday, July 10th. Fans wanting to attend the open session should email info@pompeyfc.co.uk, including their full name, contact details, and accommodation information. The pre-season fixture list continues to grow, with Pompey set to face National League outfit Woking on Tuesday, July 15th, followed by a trip to National League Southside Farnborough the next day. These games join the previously announced friendly against Hawks on Tuesday, July 29th. Unfortunately, the usual pre-season matches against local sides Gosport and Bognor won't take place this summer, as both clubs are installing artificial pitches and won't be able to host games during July.
The cynic in me has a sneaking suspicion that actually Pompey may, in places, have come to regard those pre-season fixtures as an obligation. They benefit from them, and they know that, and they know how they benefit from them, and they know what to do to make sure that there is benefit from them. And the clubs, of course, enjoy being in the limelight, but most of all, they enjoy the attendance fees that are charged and a decent-sized crowd, presumably a better crowd than they would have got for a friendly against a club from the same tier up the road. However, it was for us fans an essential part of the build-up to the new season to see how we got on against the likes of Gosport, who are a decent outfit, and Havant as well, same thing. And now we're deprived of that. Good luck to them with their artificial pitches, which is going to be a cash cow. Not a cash cow, it's going to be an earner for them because they can rent them out round the clock, round the year. It means that they won't have any games. If they're playing games on these surfaces, are they playing games? Is this their main pitch or is this a training facility? I should know, but it hasn't been mentioned, so I don't. What I can tell you is that Bratislava, where Pompey are going now for their pre-season away week, is the capital, and it's the largest city. I'm reading this. It's not the sort of thing I'd know off the top of my head, I'm proud to say. Largest city of the Slovak Republic and the fourth largest of all cities on the river Danube. Officially, it's a city of 475,000, so it's a big place. I think that makes it twice the size of the population of the island of Portsea. But anyway, Bratislava is in the southwestern part of Slovakia at the foot of the Little Carpathians, who sound like a novelty novelty band, don't they? The Little Carpathians. It occupies both banks of the Danube, and I'm just spooling down to see whether there's anything about the training facilities or hospitality or catering. I've got its history, you don't want to know that. I've got our sport, here we go. Various sports and sports teams have a long tradition in Bratislava, with many teams and individuals competing in Slovak and international leagues and competitions. Football is currently represented by the only club playing in the top Slovak football league, the Fortuna Liga, and that is SK Slovan Bratislava. And they seem to be a fair to moderate team. Had a 5-0 win over Celtic in one Champions League match. So they had some strength, and maybe they've still retained plenty of that. I'm now looking to see if there's anything about training facilities, and there isn't. So we fans will have to suck it and see. If anybody's going, if you're going or you know somebody who's going to go, please let us know at Pompey Sound. I'll do our email address in just a second if you want to just shout about it, basically. You know, it's Radio Pompey at gmail.com. Radio Pompey at gmail.com. If you or somebody you know is making plans, not for Nigel, but for Bratislava.